There's a myth that saturated fat is good for you. Most of the folks in the paleo and keto communities think that the more saturated fat that you eat, the better. In fact, this was first posited as the cause of heart disease back in the 1950s by a very famous nutrition researcher from the University of Minnesota by the name of Ancel Keys. He published a very famous study called the 7 Countries Study that purported that animal fat, the more saturated fat that people ate, the higher their risk of heart disease. Now, he presented his findings to the World Health Organization, and the World Health Organization believed what he said. And so the low-fat movement came about. Now, I've looked at Ancel Keys, all of his studies. I looked at them over and over again. And interestingly enough, Ancel Keys is tied for the longest living nutritionist on record. And Ancel Keys, I've had the pleasure of interviewing his housekeeper, ate huge amounts of olive oil. Now, olive oil is not a saturated fat. But what happened with Ancel Keys was people took his data and they thought he was demonizing fat. He wasn't at all. He was demonizing animal saturated fat. So what I've looked at Ancel Keys' data and my own data in that animal fats are associated with animal protein. And it was actually the animal protein that was the big mischief maker in the animal fat, the saturated fat hypothesis. Now, so having said that, the more olive oil that I can get into you, the better your longevity and the better your brain health. And I've got a lot of tricks in the longevity paradox to tell you how to use olive oil or the polyphenols in olive oil to maximize your brain health and your lifespan.